I'd like to start by taking you on a thought experiment. Imagine for a moment that there's a computer system that was designed to connect people, one that had their resumes, skills, and personality attributes all in one giant database. Now imagine that you could say to that computer system, here's what I'm looking for in a high quality candidate. Here's what I'm looking for in a dental technician, a pickup and delivery driver, a department manager, a customer support individual. Now, if you had that kind of control in the process, meaning that you could pick a person with a certain set of attributes, the very ones that you yourself are attracted to, what attributes would you pick? Someone who was a strong leader, a great communicator, problem solver, creative thinker? As we ponder our dream employee together, let me ask you another question. Would you define these attributes as gifts one is born with, or skills one can learn? And whether you go down your list or mine, what you'll find is that every single one of these attributes are in fact skills. Being a great communicator is not a gift you are born with. It is a choice you make. We can choose to be a better listener, more attentive, more understanding. As business owners and managers, we all too often organize our HR departments and hiring criteria around the hard vocational skills that we are desperate for, and neglect the essential skills like self-control, wisdom, and perception that manifest the skills we want in our hallways. And today on the podcast, we're going to explore the importance of what I call essential skills in the workplace. While some will call them soft, I call them essential because they are essential for the culture you want in your dental lab. My name is Sasha Avanessian, and this is Entrepreneur Insight. Culture is a widely misunderstood superpower. Whether you understand culture or not, your lab has one, and it is ultimately at the core of whether you are going to get to where you want to go or not. Your culture, at its essence, is a collective set of individual attitudes, born of the individual behavioral tendencies of the people you've hired, that together guide the human engagement of your laboratory. Which, by the way, all will determine whether your dental lab is successful or not. The common trap is shortage breeds desperation. It is widely known that there is a shortage of talented people in the for-hire marketplace. The need for talented dental technicians is no exception. In environments like this, it's very easy to allow desperation to trump culture. The result is an I'll take what I can get mentality. The problem is the common trap we can easily find ourselves ensnared in. Shortage breeds desperation. And I have heard story after story about talented dental technicians being great at making teeth, but are not behaviorally great for the culture the lab owner wants to create. Dissension, disrespect, ungratefulness, gossip. Yet the lab owner feels trapped, forced to retain the skills they desperately need at the great expense of the attitudes they dearly want. But more on that later. Culture has a different metric. Outside of the skill-based productivity metrics that are customarily used to define the effectiveness of our employees and managers, there are also those valuable skills that cannot be assessed on a linear scale. These include those who remain calm under pressure, add valuable insights to the decision-making process, and those who carry a high level of situation awareness. The reality is that most businesses continue to focus their internal hiring, training, and rewarding on their people as if the hard numbers are all that matter. Of course, certain focus skills are need-based for the success of a dental lab. Hiring designers who can't design, or waxers who can't wax, or salespeople who can't sell would be ludicrous. However, the vocational skills become the only ones we measure because it's safe. It's black and white. We know how to track units per day. What is more inconvenient to track, though, is resiliency, good judgment, and high intuition. We can all agree that vocational skills can be taught. You are not born knowing how to make a crown, run a CAD/CAM machine, or call on a doctor. These are teachable and learnable. But as leaders, we absolve ourselves of responsibility when it comes to training our people in the areas of decision-making, involvement, working through fear, listening, working in teams, building confidence, and inspiring others. We underinvest in this training because we assume that these types of skills are not skills at all, but rather gifts that someone is born with, and therefore cannot be taught or learned. We often refer to these as personality traits or soft skills. From now on, let's call them essential skills. They're essential because they hold the keys for strong leadership, for trust, for problem solving. They're essential because even the most highly skilled technician without these skills cannot be the true asset you are looking for. Obviously, essential skills are not a direct substitute for technical skills. They will, however, if cultivated within the right context, understanding and leadership intent, greatly enhance the culture of your lab and the success metrics you already are measuring. Not surprisingly, there is not a business textbook we'll find a list of essential skills that every successful business needs to build a strong internal culture. For some odd reason, they left that chapter out. So for the sake of the podcast, I have ventured to identify 3 essential skills that I believe to be grossly neglected and overlooked when it comes to the people we hire, train, and reward. 3 keys to the culture you want to create. These are age-old virtues and proven cornerstones of a successful life, let alone work life. These essential skills are self-control, wisdom, and perception. And yes, they can be taught and they can be learned. Let's start with self-control. Self-control is the ability to regulate your thoughts, actions, and impulses, to choose your reactions, your timing, and your tone. To control your emotions is an essential skill that can keep life in the room. We all know that business is full of difficult conversations. Self-control keeps the temperature cool, level, and professional. Lack of self-control can exhibit fits of rage, bucking authority, or gossiping about others. Those who have this skill are emotionally intelligent, self-confident, and can diffuse an otherwise destructive situation. Now, the traits of self-control include someone who exhibits calmness under pressure, can handle difficult conversations well, is resilient when faced with obstacles, and carries a high degree of integrity with themselves and with others. Now, a popular training method for self-control is mindfulness exercises. Mindfulness exercises cultivate the awareness that arises from paying attention, from being intentionally present in the moment of a situation. Mindfulness exercises include activities such as prayer and meditation, focused box breathing sessions, stretching, and journaling on attitudes such as gratitude. They enable us to put space between ourselves and our reactions, leading to better focus and context framing. And research has found that mindfulness training helps regulate negative emotions and increases higher order thinking. Allow your team, your employees, to find dedicated time to engage in these types of exercises. You can either do them as a group or you can give them their individual space. The second essential skill I want to talk about is wisdom. Now, wisdom is the ability to value past experiences, whether positive or negative, as learning opportunities and data points to make better future decisions. People who own the essential skill of wisdom remain creative in the face of challenge, offer conflict resolutions, and carry a natural desire to mentor and teach others what they've learned. Those that lack this skill tend to make the costly mistake over and over again, speak out of turn, and become defensive when a situation is addressed. Wisdom is the best friend for any culture that thrives. People who have wisdom exercise good judgment, view knowledge as an asset, offer valuable insights, and see problems as projects. Performance reviews are a great platform to cultivate wisdom within your organization. Use this one-to-one opportunity to highlight projects that didn't go as planned and ask questions around what was learned from that experience. In addition, address any repetitive or cyclical mistakes with questions like, what do you think the root problem is, or what would you have done differently? Allowing your employees to become introspective will exercise that muscle of wisdom. And the third and final one is perception. Perception has to do with one's depth of field, right? Their lens of focus, their pattern recognition. This essential skill enables one to see the most stressful business situations that arise in a clear and rational framework. Perception applies itself in the ability and stability of intercompany relationships, as it maps out emotional outcomes by understanding one's stance or position. For example, for a salesperson to perceive whether the person they're trying to sell to wants to hear more or know more is the difference between building your brand or destroying it. People who have the skill of perception have a strong emotional intelligence. They are solution-based design thinkers. They manage personalities well, and they operate with high intuition. Situational gameplay is a common tactic when training on this essential skill. Present a business scenario with a set of choices from which to pick. For example, you may present a dilemma that a salesperson has, such as, which of our restoration products should I upsell? Which offers the lowest friction to conversion? Ask the participants to select their answer and explain why they chose it. After each person has presented their choice, come together and as a group decide the best upsell fit for each lead product. The objective here is to encourage read and react value-based decision making. And finally, I'll end with 4 questions. What are the essential skills and attitudes that you were attracted to in others, and why? What if you wrote them down, clearly defined them, and identified the 3 you want as the cornerstones to the lab culture you want to create? If you took the time to grow and cultivate those 3 essential skills in your own life, would you become a better leader, spouse, parent, friend, coworker? Which leads me to the final question. What are you waiting for?